Okay, so next thing, I hope you guys have gone through the previous discussion where we went through probability types of permutation combination, then addition rule, multiplication rule, because I will not be repeating those, but some people might not have already gone through that. So I will just tell that I am using that particular thing when I am going through examples. I will not again repeat those things here because you can go through previous session video. I will just tell that we are using that particular thing that we saw in that session, something like that only. So basically our topic is probability distributions. So this thing we will like mix into like theory, practical, example, theory, that kind of way. Otherwise, if you go on spending 1 hour or something with the problems and all, the session will get boring, right? So, but this session, I would like everyone to use the chat very profusely, so that I will also like get more interested to show you how to solve this. And I want the answers from you people only, right? So basically, first I will cover the random variables. We will just see what are discrete and continuous random variables. And then we will see probability distributions to this part and all. We will probably move in the next week session. We can move because it's already maybe 30 minutes. We will not reach that portion. So we will may mostly stuck up consider this and this here, as well as this expectation part, and this discrete and continuous we can probably see in the next session. Okay, the other things also depending on how much we proceed, we will see. So I think because if we try to cover everything, I will be just rushing through. So that will not be beneficial to anyone. So we will just go in detail. Okay. So what is a random variable? So last session we saw what is a random experiment versus what is a what's the opposite of a random experiment? Something for which I know the result, like something which has a definite outcome. So that kind of things are called definite things. We need not worry about probability, right? That we are either sure that it will happen or either it will not happen. So both those are definite cases only. So for cases where we are not sure whether something is happen or not, like when I throw a die, which out of the numbers 1 to 6 will come, or if I throw a coin, whether head or tail will come. So things like that I cannot know beforehand before doing the experiment. I can only tell that, okay, there is a 50% chance that a head or tail will come. So things like that I can model using what is called as a random variable. So this sample space and all we saw in last session. So consider random experiment. So random experiment is something for which we don't know the outcome. We know the all sets of outcomes, but for that particular trial of that experiment, we don't know what will be the outcome. So that kind of things are called a random experiment. So what is a random variable is we will be using the convention of X for random variable. For X for unknown is a single valued real function that assigns a real number to each sample point. So basically it is nothing. Basically if I tell whether it will rain or not. So there is a possibility that it will rain. There is a possibility that it will not rain. So I cannot quantify that. So I want to quantify that by telling, okay, there is a 0.2 probability that it will rain and 0.8 probability that it will not rain. So basically to quantify things like whether it will rain or not. That is like a statement that the meteorology department can tell today it will rain, or somebody will tell today it will not rain. So that thing I cannot quantify. But when we need to mathematically treat something, we need to convert it into numbers. So a random variable is nothing but a function that will help me to arrive at this number. We will see how it is done and all. So a random variable is called a discrete. So this is similar to our discrete and continuous that I saw towards that I told towards the first of the session when we are seeing the discrete examples, descriptive statistics examples. So discrete random variable is something if the range, that is the set of values it can take, is finite or countable. So suppose I have like 6, my data can be 1 out of the 6 or 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 100, or like it is a whole number. Like whole number can be 0 to infinite, but it is actually what is called countably infinite. So you cannot have like 59,999.99 in that. It will be either 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, things like that. And the ulta of this is the last line, a random variable that can take an uncountably infinite number of values like 0.1, 0.001, 0.33. So they're like that. 0.33 can come, 0.335 can come, 335. Yeah, if you add more or more decimal points, the data will get infinite in that particular dimension. So that's actually something called an uncountably infinite. For things like that, we will tell that those are like continuous random variables. Suppose you are supposed to choose a point from -1 to 1. You can choose -1, 0, 1. And if my point is like in terms of 1/10th, then -1, -0.9, -0.8. So as long as you go on adding more or more decimal points, you will have infinite number of points. So those kind of distributions we will call as, or variables we will call as continuous variables. Now let's see some examples for some random variables. So suppose there is a random variable. This example I will see. So I will just, that is just to show that an example of x. We will tell that x equal to 0 if a equal to 0, x equal to 1 if a greater than 1, and x equal to -1 if a less than a greater than 0, a less than 0. So basically this is some simple definition of a signum function. So for all the values of a which are greater than 0, I will assign a value 1. For all the values of a which are less than 0, I will assign a value -1. And when a is 0, I will assign a value 0. So basically I have, from the definition, I have assigned a real number, which is in this case 0, 1, -1, which will map each of the sample point of S. So S in this case is like the full set of numbers, real numbers. So 1.1, it will be mapped to 1. Like I told, one that continuous variable. So this is like a mapping of a continuous random variable. I have mapped to a 3 values. So since the values are countable, this will be a discrete random variable. Now, corresponding to each discrete random variable, we will define a function called a probability mass function. So that will give the probability that the corresponding value will occur when you do that particular random experiment. So for that we will denote it as small p and within bracket x p of x. That kind of nomenclature we will use to denote my probability mass function for a discrete variable. So it can be defined as probability that capital X. So out of the random experiment, the x is small x is my particular outcome. So in case of a die, whether 3 falls or 4 falls, and my event can be like a throw of a die. So what is the probability that in case I throw a die, a number 3 shows up? So that can be written as p of x. That is the total, the probability that the sample outcome x will occur out of this. So I will show an example. So suppose we have a coin. So I have a coin. So if I toss a coin, I can get what? I can get a head or a tail. Now, as I told in whether it will rain or not, this is not like mapped to a number. So I want to map it to a number. So I have 2 outcomes here. So and either one only can come at a time. So I will tell that probability that a head comes up is, there is only one case where a head comes up out of 2. And I will tell probability of x equal to tail is similarity. Only one case where a tail will come up out of my total possibility of 2. So this is my probability mass function corresponding to the event, a coin toss, single coin toss. Now suppose I have 2 coins. So 2 coins, what can come? Either both can be heads, or the first one can be head, second one can be tail, or the first one can be tails, second one can be head, or both can be tails. So in this case, let me define my x as this thing. I can define whatever way I want. I can define the random variable as number of heads, number of tails, or the first one being a head, or at least one head. So that is the beauty of this random variable. For whatever be my question, I can define it as per my question. So the question that I am seeing is what is the number of heads. So if you see from this case there are 2 heads. This case and this case there is only 1 head. This case there is 0 head. So the values I have for this, that is my small x. Small x, the values it can take here are 0, 1 and 2. So my probability of capital X equal to 0. Here I am having what? 4 outcomes I am having. And the probability, the only case where I get 0 heads is tail. So that is only one such case. So 1/4 is my probability that 0 number of heads will show up in a coin toss, 2 coins, right? Now suppose I go for P of x equal to 2. Then again that 2 heads will come only in the first case. So that also probability is 1/4. Then a probability of x equal to 1. As you can see in the HT case as well as TH case, both cases, we have at least 1 head. So probability of x equal to 1 will be 2 out of 4. 4 1/2. Now one thing that you can note here is, once I define the probability variable and I consider all the case, in the earlier case of single coin case, it was 1/2, 1/2, 1/2 4 head, 1/2 4 head. And if you see both these add up to 1. And in this case, you can see this is 1/4, this is 1/4, this is 1/2. All these add up to 1. So this you can recall that we saw in the first session about some Kolmogorov's axioms, 3 axioms, right? You can go through that material. So this is, if you see, this thing is matching with that axiom. So that any probability mass function that you define should like actually follow the 3 axioms, like probability of any event should be greater than 0. Sum of all probabilities should be 1. And if they are independent, then their union will be the sum of those probabilities. Those 3 are the axioms. So you can go through that previous session. We gave examples and all. So that is thing. Now I think you are like clear, right? How I can assign to probability to simple events like a coin toss or 2 coin toss, right? Now we will see one more concept, which is called expectation. So expectation is closely related to random variable. So as I told earlier, a random variable, I am telling like it can take any value. As we saw just 2 coins when we are tossing, it can take the value 0, 1, 2 when I am counting the number of heads as my random variable. So expectation is something which I can use to find out which is the most probable outcome, or like similar to the average that we defined for descriptive statistics. What thing will be like a measure of central tendency for that particular random variable. So as we saw earlier, the probability mass function provides us with several numbers, like x equal to 0 is 1/4, x equal to 2 is 1/4, x equal to 1 is 1/2. So we got several numbers for which correspond to probabilities of all the possible values of x. So we would like to tell the particular random variable, we would like to have something to summarize, similar to our descriptive statistics average, which can be a single number that will be the weighted average. So as you remember in our mean, we saw that sigma f of xi last class descriptive statistics, you can see by sigma f will give you like the weighted mean. So similar to this weighted mean concept, we need to have something like weighting over the probabilities so that we will get a single representative number with which I can define this random variable. So that is what is called the expectation variable. So that is defined as sigma for summation x into p of x. So in our earlier case, x equal to 0, 1, 2. So that will come over x here. Probability that we found out 1/4, 1/2, that will come as our P of X here. So suppose same example we can repeat once again. So in that case, my small x is 0, 1, 2, and my probability that 1 by 4, 1 by 2, 1 by 4. So then first step is I multiply x and p. So 0 into 1 by 4, 0, 1 into 1 by 2, half, 1 by 4 into 1 by 2, half. So then now I have to add all these. So sum of all these will give me what? 1 by 0 plus 1 by 2 plus 1 by 2, that is 1. So for the particular case where I count the number of heads in a trial with 2 coins, I find that the expected value is 1. So this basically means that I am more probable to get a single head in my trials. So that is what you can like infer from the expectation value. So I'll give one more example here in the next slide. Okay. So similar to this expectation, we can call it as mean also. Similar to our descriptive, we can define a variance here as well. So here the variance similar to what similar to E of X that we define as the mean. We can define the variance as something similar to E of X minus mu the whole square that we defined in the descriptive case. So mu in this case is E of X. So that is why, as you can see here, it is E of X minus E of X the whole square. So it is basically similar to our descriptive. I am finding expectation of X minus mu square with the mu replaced by E of X. And if you like do some maths on this, you will finally get it as E of X square minus E of X the whole square. So this thing we will just keep in mind. We will not go into details of how this is derived and all. When we solve some problems, we will use these equations wherever required. So variance actually provides a measure of dispersion around mean, just similar to the variance that we considered when we saw the statistics part. And the root of this variance will give me the standard deviation. Now we will see some examples of how to find the expectation variance and. So first thing. So the coin that we saw earlier was like an unbiased coin. Like there was an equal probability that a head or tail will come. Now there is I can actually bias the coin by like adding some particular weight in some particular way or something so that there is a more probability that a head will come out. So that kind of things are called biased coin, things like that. So suppose I have a biased coin and I toss the coin 2 times and I am given here the probability of a head for a single coin toss. So here again I am counting the probability number of heads obtained. So I will again write similar to this thing, probability of 0 heads, probability of 1 heads, probability of 2 heads. So n is equal to 2, p is equal to 3 by 6. Now I will start from 2 heads. 2 heads, there is a probability that the first thing will be head is 3 by 4. Probability that second thing will be head is 3 by 4. So multiplying both using our multiplication rule that we saw in previous session, we will get 9 by 60, which is probability of x equal to 2. Probability of x equal to 2 is 9 by 60. So similarly, for the one case, we will get one coin will be head, so that will be 3 by 4. Other coin will be tail, so that will be 1 minus 3 by 4, that is 1 by 4. So multiplying both, I will get this as 3 by 16. But as we saw in earlier case, there are actually 2 cases in this. A HT can come and a TH can come. So I have to actually multiply with a 2 here. So finally, it will be 3 by 8. And in the 0 case, again, I have to do 1 minus 3 by 4, the probability of first tail into, again, probability of second tail is 1 minus 3 by 4. So that is 1 by 4 into 1 by 4 equal to 1 by 16. So as you can see, you can always, when you do things like this, you can always come by 8 plus. Okay, I am thinking I had some network issue in between. Okay. Okay. Okay, am I audible now? Guys, are you able to hear me? I think I had a network issue in between. Are you guys able to hear me? Chats. Okay, I got us. Okay, fine. Okay, so one thing that you can always do when to check whether you got when you do things like this is you can always add up these two 1 by 16 plus 3 by 8 plus 9 by 16. So these things should always add up to 1. So if you had not done any mistakes, then you can always use this as a confirmatory check. Now my objective is to find the u of x. So I have to multiply 0 into probability that x equal to 0, which I got is 1 by 16, plus 1 into probability that x equal to 1, which I got as 3 by 8, plus probability of 2 into probability that x equal to 2, which I got as 9 by 60. So this will be my answer here. So finally, we will get something like 1.5 or something like that. Okay, I'm not going to do that. You can always try it out. If I got something wrong, you can always let me know. You will get something like 3 by 2 here. Now, now we will see a slightly bigger example, throwing a die. So as you can see here, we have what? How many 6 cases we will have, right? So I'll write here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is corresponding to the number which will come up when I will throw a die. So you guys tell me what will be the probability here? What will be the probability that a 1 will come up when I throw a die? Answers chat. What is the probability that a 1 will come up when I throw a dice once? What's the total number of outcomes here? Chats. What's the total number of outcomes here? 6. Yeah, exactly. And all the 6 are equally probable, right? Anything can happen out of this all 6. So basically my probability here will be 1 by 6 since all 6 are equally likely. So similarly for this all the 6, my probability is 1 by 6. Now to find my x into p of x, I have to multiply this and this. So I'll get 1 by 6 here, 1 by 3 here, 1 by 2 here, 2 by 3 here, 5 by 6 here, and 1 here. And now I have to add up all these. 1 by 3 you can add up. I have already added it up. So you can just check with my result. So finally you will get 3.5. Now suppose similar to what we saw earlier, we need to find the we need to find the variance. So I'll just erase this. So I need to again find the variance. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and all the probabilities are 1 by 6 only. So to find the variance, I told like it is E of x square minus E of x the whole square, right? E of x, yeah. So basically E of x we got as 3.5 in the previous thing. So the second part we already know it is 3.5 square. First part we need to find out. So E of x square in this case is actually sigma x square into P of x. So E of x is square here, x square into P of x. So I have to basically do square of all these. So 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36. Then I have to multiply all these by 1 by 6. So 1 by 6, 4 by 6, 9 by 6, 16 by 6, 25 by 6, 36 by 6. Then I have to add up all these. So that will be equal to my E of x square. So this particular value that I am leaving as an exercise to you to compute that. So that thing you have to apply here, minus 3.5 square. Finally, you will get answer as 35.2. Because this thing is just basically addition, subtraction, that kind of thing. So we need not waste time by doing that because anybody can do that, right? How you arrive at these things only matters. So I hope you guys can do this on your own. I think similar examples are coming in our course also. So that time with whatever I told in mind, you should be able to easily do those things. So we will see some more like the next level of this expectation, which is like similar to our some graded problems and all that we have in our course. I am not going through that problems exactly same way, but if you listen to this properly, same hints you can use to solve that as well. So the case that I consider is like this. A player tosses 3 coins. So unbiased coins. So probability of a head or tail is 1 by 2. And if all 3 are heads, he will gain 500 rupees. If there are 2 heads, he will gain 300 rupees. And if there is 1 head, he will get 100 rupees. And if there is no head, he will lose 1500 rupees. So now this is like a betting game or a gambling game, right? So suppose the person goes there. First, he will have to give 1500 rupees. Then he will toss 3 coins. So if he get 1 coin, he will get back 100. If he get 2, he will get back 300. If he get 500, he will get back 3 heads. He will get back 500. So things a game like this. So now usually how one way you can find out this one. Suppose you ask somebody to play this game 1000 number of times, and then calculate how many times he got each one of these. Then finally what is the thing. So rather a better thing is that this is basically similar to the mean or the central tendency that we want to find out earlier. What is the median or central thing that will occur if we consider a case like this? So here we can just write similar to previous case. Suppose my x is the case where he wins a particular amount. So I will write the probability that x equal to 500. Then probability that x equal to 300. Probability that x equal to 100. And probability that x equal to minus 1500. So we need to find out these 4 probabilities. Then we have to apply my expectation value equation, x into p of x. I have to sum that over all my cases. Then I will get this whatever. I can tell whether the game will be profitable to him or not. Now this thing is, what is the probability that 3 heads will occur? So that means I have 1 by 2 into first head into second head into third head. So here I'll just note down what are the possibilities that can come. It can be 3 heads, or it can be 2 head and a tail, and it can come in 2 ways, right? Head, tail, and suppose then other both can be tails. So you got 4 cases. Similarly, you can have tail, tail, head, tail, head, head. So basically, when you toss 3 coins, you can have like 8 possible outcomes, right? Did I miss anything? Why it is 8? Chat. Why it is 8? We saw this in previous class. When I toss 3 coins, I'm telling like my total number of outcome is 8. Why it is so? We discussed this in previous class. Total number of outcomes when the number of when I am tossing 3 coins. Right, it is actually, I have two outcomes, 2, number of tries n. So 2 raised to n is my number of outcomes. So here n equal to 3. So 2 raised to 3 equal to 8 is my total number of outcomes. Okay, so I think after the next example, we will stop and we will recap. I think because you people are getting overloaded. Okay, we will finish this 2 examples. Then we will, and maybe next example also, that will cover this expectation part, and then we will stop and take count. So basically now what's the probability that 2 heads will come? So you count all the things where 2 heads are here, 2 heads are there, here 2 heads are there, here 2 heads are there. So in 3 cases you got, so that will be 3 into, again 1 by 2 into 1 by 2 into 1 by 2. Now what's the probability that you get 1 head? That is corresponding to 100 cases 1 head. So 1 head can come in which all cases? 1 head can come in this case and this case and this case, right? 3 cases again. So that will be again same as this, 3 into 1 by 2 into 1 by 2 into 1 by 2. And the probability that no head comes up is only once, only in the all 3 are tail case. So that will be 1 by 2 into 1 by 2 into 1 by 2. Now what you have to do to find, you have to multiply x and p of x. So you have to do 500 into 1 by 8 plus 300 into 3 by 8 plus 100 into 3 by 8 minus 1500 into 1 by 8. So if you add this much, you will get something like 1700 minus 1500, that is 200 by 8 you will get. So that will be equal to 25. So this is what you will get. You can do the calculation on your own and see. So finally you will get 25 in this case, which means that since the value that we get is positive, it means that in the long run, if this player keeps on playing this game in the long run, he is expected to make a profit of 25 rupees. That means in the average case, in a large number of tries, the game will be mostly profitable to him. Now we will see 2 more examples similar to this. So you don't worry about these examples much if you don't get it in the first try. We will see same similar kind of examples 2-3 ways. So once all these are clear, you again go through the first one on your own. So then you can like get to know, because we all these problems, though it is worded in different things, all these are basically doing the same thing. So once you get to know that, it will be like very easy. So now again the same statement I am modifying slightly from the terms of the dealer. A dealer plays a gambling game where probability that a player wins is 0.01. So the probability that the dealer wins is 0.99, right? And each player has to give rupees X to enter the game. And if he wins, the dealer will give him rupees Y. And if the player loses the game, the dealer doesn't have to pay him anything back. And find the break-even point for the dealer. That means find the value of X and Y that will be like profitable to the dealer. That boundary you have to find out, so that above that boundary it will be profitable to the dealer. Below that boundary y by x I have told, like y is the amount that dealer has to pay. So y by x, so below that boundary it is profitable to the dealer, and above that boundary it will be profitable to the player. Now if you see the problem statements, both that I have given here are actually like the same problem told in 2 different ways, and how you approach the thing is also same. As you can see, there is a probability that capital X equal to Y. That means the dealer has to pay the guy amount that is equal to 0.01. Here I will write minus Y because the dealer is expected to give the money to the player, and the probability that X equal to small x equal to 0.99. Now if I write other my expectation, E of X equal to 0.99x minus 0.01y. Now I am supposed to find a value which is for which the dealer is getting a benefit. So that means E of x should be greater than or equal to 0. That means the dealer should get some money, right? So now if I rearrange these terms, I will get like 0.99x greater than or equal to 0.01y. So again, I bring back the numerator and denominator. I will get like y by x less than or equal to 99. So this is the answer. So if I the dealer tells that x is 1 and y is 100, then that is above the ratio 99. It is 100. So that will be like loss to the dealer. Whereas if we fix this value at 98, then 98 by 1, which is less than 99. So this game will be profitable to the dealer. So if you see both these problems, you did the same way. And you think about why you did like this. Then you will get a more clear idea. And one more question we will see same way. That's also like exactly the same thing that we did just now. Only the wording is different. So this is like a basic standard question that you will get for interviews and all. So consider a quiz game where a person is giving 2 questions and he is asked to choose which question to answer first. So if we answer the question, I'll write a tree here. If we answer the question 1 first, there is a probability of 0.8 that he answers is correctly, in which case he will get 100 rupees. And once he answers the first question correctly, he can go to the second question, which is having a probability of 0.5 of answering. And once he get that correctly, he will get again additional 200 rupees. So in this case, 100 plus 200, 300 rupees he will get. Now suppose the second question he gets wrong. So basically, as you can see, whatever is written in the question, I am trying to break it down logically into a tree or something so that I can analyze it more easily. Again, the probability is same 0.5 probability that the second question will be wrong. In this case, he will have only 100 rupees. Then suppose he got there is a 0.2 probability that he will answer the first question wrong, in which case he will get 0 rupees. Now suppose he decides to answer the second question first. So there is a 0.5 probability that he will answer it correctly, in which case he will get 200. Then suppose he answers first question, he will with a 0.8 probability 100 he will get. So this case he will get 300. And suppose the first question he answers wrongly with a probability 0.2, he will get only this 200. And this suppose the first question he answers is question number 2. If it is wrong, here with a probability 0.5, he won't get anything. Now my question is, which out of this option is more profitable to the student? Which one should he choose? Whether he should answer question 1 first or question 2 first? You got the question, right? After this thing, we will be stopping for any doubts, and then we will wind up the session. So this is, you can like think it out. We will answer this in the next class. So you guys can ponder over this question. So whether it is more profitable for the person to answer the first question or the second question first, following this particular problem statement. So which one will give him more marks or more money? So with that, I think we will wind up today's session. Next Saturday, we will start from this point, and I will take your answers for this question at that time. Okay, thank you all. So any doubts? I think towards the expectation part, you might have got it over your heads, right? Okay, this thing happens. So now you go through the material once again. So then you will understand many of the things that I told. And you won't find that much detail as I told in the material. So I think I tried to explain it in a bit detail, so you would have got some idea. Now, if you go through the material, you would be able to navigate easily. So the material actually covers this as if you already know all these things mostly. So I think you will be able to go through the material easily now. So any questions? So anything you need me to explain in more detail in the next session? Something you can tell out of this, anything that you can, once you go through the material, you will again get some doubts. So that time you can ask in the next session. So if any of these points you need more clarity, we can again repeat in the next session. So all good. Sir, this question once again I watch and tell answer. Sure. Yeah. Sorry, Ramya. Okay, then shall I wind up the session? Okay. Good night to all.